Reading through the Revelation chapter 17. Chapter 17 and 18 really list the crimes of the Roman domination of John's day. One of the seven angels who had poured out the seven bowls came over and spoke to me. "Come with me," he said, "and I will show you the judgment that is going to come on the great prostitute who rules over many waters. The kings of the world have committed adultery with her, and the people who belong to this world have been made drunk by the wine of her immorality." Speaking of Rome and the Roman Empire. Now, these chapters for John are prophetic. They are things that started to happen and the judgment that was going to happen. So John in chapter 17 and 18 is basically writing in code, but the reader in the churches knew what John was saying. The empire's power and oppression is manifested in these two chapters. Notice the words, the great prostitute. The great prostitute in verse 18 tells us it is Rome, the great city. Then notice the world was made drunk by the wine of her immorality. It might be similar to what we say today, she drank the Kool-Aid, or he drank the Kool-Aid. That means they just took it in, line, sinker, and all. And so here in chapter 17, we have the Roman Empire in its oppression, in the crimes against humanity. Rome and the Roman Empire was a political power that was perverted. It used its power to amass wealth and more power throughout the Roman Empire. So the angel took me in the spirit into the wilderness. This isn't being actual reality. He is in a vision. He is in another world, so to speak. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns, and blasphemies against God were written all over it. The woman wore purple and scarlet clothing and beautiful jewelry made of gold and precious gems and pearls. In her hand she held a gold goblet full of obscenities and the impurities of her immorality. A mysterious name was written on her forehead, Babylon the Great, talking about Rome. Rome was becoming an empire that was just like the Babylonians of the Old Testament, oppressive, mother of all prostitutes and obscenities in the world. I could see that she was drunk with the blood of God's holy people who were witnesses for Jesus. I stared at her in complete amazement. Nero and Domitian, as emperors, treated Christians cruelly, tormented them, covered them with tar, and put them on poles and lit them for lights of the city. They would put wild fur from animals on them and then send them into the arena to be eaten and attacked by wild animals. They were cruel to the Christians in the day. Persecution was paramount. That is why John is writing this revelation, to encourage them to hang in there during the tough times. It will be worth it all if they will just remain faithful. You saw in these verses 3 through 6, she is wearing evening wear. She is filthy. She is defiled. She is seductive. And the Roman Empire was all of that. Verse 7, "Why are you so amazed?" the angel asked. I will tell you the mystery of this woman and of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns on which she sits. The beast you saw was the one alive, but isn't now. And yet he will soon come up out of the bottomless pit, the abyss, and go to eternal destruction. And the people who belong to this world, whose names were not written in the book of life before the world was made, will be amazed at the reappearance of this beast who had died. Here the writer is talking about a great roll or registry that is kept in heaven. And is your name written there? When the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there, the old hymn says. But these folks, their names were not written there. Their names were not written in heaven. Jesus reminded his disciples, don't rejoice that you have the power to cast out demons. Rejoice rather that your name is written in heaven. Verse 9, this calls for a mind with understanding. And that's an understatement, right? Reading through the Revelation, we on this side 2,000 years later are scratching our heads saying, what in the world does this mean? So we must read with understanding. The approach I have been taking through this study is simply a common sense approach like we would take with any other book or letter of the Bible. That John was writing the revelation that he saw to the church, to the Christian of his day, and that it encouraged them to endure patiently the hard times they were going through, because in the end, Jesus wins. And we want to be on the winning team, don't we? And so we continue this chapter. The 7 heads of the beast represent the 7 hills where the woman rules. The city of Rome was set on 7 hills, and whenever 7 hills was mentioned, people knew that meant the city of Rome. They also represent 7 kings. 5 kings have already fallen, the 6th now reigns, and the 7th is yet to come. But his reign will be brief. Every kingdom that has come has also gone. Many kingdoms did not last long. They were overthrown by enemies. The Roman Empire crumbled not only because of outside enemies, but also inward impurities. Verse 11, the scarlet beast that was, but is no longer, is the 8th king. He is like the other 7, and he too is headed for destruction. The 10 horns of the beast are 10 kings who have not yet risen to power. They will be appointed to their kingdoms for one brief moment to reign with the beast. They will all agree to give him their power and authority. Together they will go to war against the Lamb. This is talking about the Roman Empire's crimes. Crimes against God and against his people. But the Lamb will defeat them. That is the victory that Christians have. Their victory is in Christ alone. But the Lamb will defeat them because he is Lord of all lords and King of all kings. A key component not only to this chapter, but to the whole book of the Revelation. The Emperor Domitian wanted to be worshipped. He wanted to be called Lord and God. But Christians were encouraged to remain faithful and give their total devotion, their total allegiance to Jesus Christ, because he only is Lord. He only is God. And his called and chosen and faithful ones will be with him. The victory of the Lamb is also the victory of God's people. Verse 15. Then the angel said to me, the waters where the prostitute is ruling represent masses of people of every nation and language. The scarlet beast and his 10 horns all hate the prostitute. They will strip her naked, eat her flesh, and burn her remains with fire. For God has put a plan into their minds, a plan that will carry out his purposes. They will agree to give their authority to the scarlet beast, and so the words of God will be fulfilled. These prophetic words to John in his day of the fall of the Roman Empire and of Rome itself will be fulfilled. And this woman you saw in your vision represents the great city that rules over the kings of the world. The woman is the great city. The great city is Rome. It has prostituted itself to worldly pleasures, to sexual immorality, to oppression of others. And so the crimes of the Roman government, of the Roman Empire, have piled up, and they will see God's judgment. Rome will fall. Thank you for listening today. As we continue next time in chapter 18, we continue the crimes of the Roman government in which God will bring judgment upon their crimes. God bless you and God keep you.